It's 2012. Everyone's talking about the world ending. Gangnam Style is playing everywhere, and anime was still that weird thing your cousin watched, but no one admitted to liking it in public. And that's when came Sword Art Online, one of the first ever isekai anime to go viral around the world. It's about a guy trapped in a virtual reality game where if you die in the game, you die in real life.
I'm dying. Help me.
The animation looked amazing, the music was phenomenal, the fights were super cool, and most importantly, the whole stuck in a game world trope was pretty new and exciting back then, so everyone loved it. Until that one episode happened.
Brother, what's that?
But wait, that's not all. It happened again, and then again. While people who were deep in the anime community knew the degenerate shit Japan can come up with, those who were just getting into the fandom absolutely hated it. All of a sudden it started going viral for the wrong reasons, became the most controversial anime of the year, and got a shitload of hate that it ended up on every trash anime list you can find on the internet. Now, to be honest, the entire story goes downhill after season 1, and the MC's ridiculous plot armor contributes more to the hate, but it was the SA scene that sparked all the controversy. While I'm sure the author just wanted to show how evil some characters can be, people saw it more as a fan service gone too far rather than an actual plot device. Goblins, the bottom of the barrel mobs, the tutorial enemies, the ones you farm for XP before the real story even begins. They've spent decades in fantasy games and stories as cannon fodder punching bags, whose biggest crime was existing within aggro range. But then came Goblin Slayer, and the author looked at all that and said, nah, let's make it more traumatizing. So welcome to this cheerful, definitely not horrifying fantasy world, where you've got slimes, dragons, demon lords, and our main character who couldn't give a fork about any of them. Nope, he's got only one mission in life, and that is to exterminate every single one of the goblins.
Godless wretches multiply like insects, and I'm the exterminator. Goblins, the goblin exterminator, the goblinator, the goblinator slayer. Man, you know what? Just keep us Goblin Slayer.
While the rest of the world treats them like minor annoyances, our guy knows the truth. These little gremlins are the stuff of nightmares, ruthless, cunning, and surprisingly organized. And Goblin Slayer wastes absolutely no time proving it. Episode 1 starts like your usual fantasy anime, fresh-faced adventurers doing basic dungeon crawling with some fun fantasy vibes. And then it happens, the diabolical tone shift that made everyone want to bleach their eyes. What should have been an easy mission turned into a graphic horror show real fast, and the thing that happens to their female members right after was so disturbingly brutal that viewers around the world started raging on the internet. And just like that, Goblin Slayer went from yet another fantasy anime to one of the most controversial shows of 2018. Not because it was edgy for fun, but because it really wanted you to hate the goblins, and it went a little too far to make that happen. Kingdom of Ruin might just be one of the trashiest anime I've ever seen, and I mean that with all the disrespect it deserves.
Know your fucking place, trash.
But if there's one thing it absolutely nails, it's rage bait. Its villains solely exist to piss you off, and they do such a perfect job at it you want to summon the Doom Guy on them. Set in a world where witches were chosen by the gods to protect and guide humanity, our main character is the only human apprentice to a kind and powerful witch named Chloe. But humans being humans turn into entitled, ungrateful monsters and decide to wipe out every witch on the planet using the power of science. Why? Because they didn't want to live in fear of magic anymore, and mass murder was the first thing that came to their simple minds. Now being one of the last few witches on the run, our MC and his mentor had no clue the humans had developed an anti-magic machine specifically designed to make them powerless. This is when the story takes a hard left turn, as the duo get captured and are presented in front of the masses for a public execution. The MC is pinned down to the ground and is forced to watch as the Emperor strips and humiliates his beloved mentor in front of a cheering crowd. Then, without any mercy, they rain down bullets on the poor woman before she could even finish saying her final goodbyes to her dear apprentice. Now, as if that wasn't enough emotional damage, they cut off her head and raise it up for everyone to see, and the crowd actually goes crazy about it like it's some K-pop live concert. It's a moment that's not just disturbing, it's absolutely sickening. But after all this, you'd think the show's well set to become one of the best revenge anime of the decade, but no, it gets worse. Not just the story, but also the quality. The animation tanks, the background music feels like royalty-free stock audio, and the pacing goes from nice to what the fork is even happening. Honestly, it had the potential to be a decent story, but what we got instead was a rushed, poorly written mess that tries to be controversial, but ends up being shit. What could have been a jaw-dropping story of rage and justice just ends up as another edgy anime dumpster fire that peaked in episode 1 and never recovered. Now, if you thought COVID was the worst thing to happen in 2021, then you clearly haven't seen that one anime that makes COVID look like a minor inconvenience. Yes, I'm talking about the revenge anime that went so far off the rails people couldn't tell if it was meant to be edgy, erotic, or just straight up illegal. Redo of Healer. Everyone was stuck indoors probably losing their minds, and someone out there said, hey, let's make a revenge corn with one of the most effed up protagonists of all time, but market it like a regular ecchi series for funsies. And for some reason, it worked. Now obviously all the clips I've used in this video are from the censored version of this series because, well, I enjoy not getting banned. But if you were unlucky enough to watch the uncensored version of it, you're probably not the same person anymore. You're either defending the main character like he's some dark justice god, or you're on Twitter, demanding that this anime be thrown into the sun and never spoken of again. But if you're one of those very few people who don't know what I'm talking about, here's the quick rundown. The anime follows a guy who was abused, betrayed, and tortured by his own party. He then finds a way to rewind time and decides to take revenge on everyone who wronged him. Sounds like your average revenge plot, right? But here's the problem. The way he takes revenge is beyond brutal. It's cruel, disturbing, and crosses ethical lines most anime wouldn't even go near. Long story short, it's not something you want to watch casually in your living room with your doors wide open. It's that messed up. Again, COVID was a really weird time in the anime industry, and producers were out there pushing boundaries, marketing literal adult anime as a regular ecchi comedy, and the fandom took the bait like it was free Wi-Fi. I'm talking about Interspecies Reviewers, the series that walked so Redo of Healer can run. Released back in 2020, never in the history of anime had we seen such an uncensored story on air that got so much love in the fandom that it actually outranked the legendary FMAB series with just a single episode. Well, to be fair, they were troll votes, and the score came crashing down real fast, but it still made a record that not a lot of anime has accomplished. Now I know we had shows like High School DD and The Quasar of Stigmata that practically had the same uncensored action, but the R-rated stuff was never the main plot of these series. They usually have the fan service moments to spice things up, while the main plot always revolves around your average power fantasies and action adventures. But then came Interspecies Reviewers, an anime which is solely about guys going around to fantasy brothels. Experiencing a variety of monster girls and leaving them Yelp reviews so the other men of culture can enjoy the right girl according to their tastes. And let's be honest, this plot is straight out of a hentai, but what really makes it different is how it integrates comedy with it. The show never takes itself seriously and knows exactly what it is. A horny fantasy comedy with enough censorship to stay legal, but not enough to stay subtle. Here's the thing. Old school animes never gave a fork about censorship. Even popular shows like Dragon Ball had several questionable scenes that got censored outside the country. But even by those standards, this film goes way too far. Enter Shoujo Tsubaki, an anime film that was so messed up that it was banned in every country around the world. What's even crazier is that it was completely funded by a single person who intended it to be a raw, unfiltered work of art. Something that shows the ugly side of life without holding back. But it ended up being so disturbing and graphic, most countries didn't just restrict it, they banned it. They wanted this thing gone, forgotten, unseen. Well, let's be honest, you can still find it online if you go looking, but here's my advice, don't. You will regret it. The story follows a young girl who loses her parents and is forced to survive by working in a circus filled with, let's just say very messed up individuals. I won't describe what happens there because it's genuinely hard to talk about. The horrors shown in this film are beyond disturbing, and it crosses multiple lines with no warning or remorse. I could only watch fragments of it while researching this video, and that was more than enough. It's so sick and messed up, some things stick with you for life, and not in a good way. Berserk is often praised as one of the greatest manga ever made, and after barely taking a peek into the Eclipse arc, I can confidently say, I don't think I'm mentally prepared to go anywhere near it ever again. Yes, the artwork is god tier. Yes, the story probably belongs in a museum, but it also contains some of the most mentally unhinged, soul-destroying, psychologically devastating characters ever put to paper, and more pain and trauma than any man should suffer. This is the ultimate revenge story in anime, set in a grimdark medieval hellscape, where hope goes to die, and happiness is a myth, where a group of warriors band together under a charismatic leader named Griffith, chasing dreams and slashing swords like it's your standard action fantasy. Then, everything goes straight to hell. Griffith has a bad day, takes a wrong turn at character development, and decides the logical solution is to sacrifice all his friends to a pack of demons for some extra power points. And you know what? I totally get it. A villain got a villain. But then he does something totally unnecessary and uncomfortable. He makes the protagonist watch as he defiles the woman he loves, stares him dead in the eye while doing it, and basically says what you gonna do about it without even saying a word. It wasn't just dark, it was diabolical. And for many, that was the moment Berserk went too far. And guys, did you know that some anime are so out of line that they're banned in several countries around the world? Check out this video for a full explainer. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.